Today we have the Trade Commissioner of Cyprus, Aristos Constantine, speaking to us about the many products of Cyprus. Welcome, Aristos.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thrilled to be here.
What would it be like to be a visitor to Cyprus? What else might we know about it?
Well, as you said, Cyprus is a very special place. It's very unique in terms of its personality, if you like. We have a very, very long history, talking about thousands of years, not hundreds. And because Cyprus has been under the rule of various different empires throughout the course of history, Greek, Roman, Ottoman, Byzantine, when you visit Cyprus, elements throughout history are present there. So it's almost like an open-air museum where you can walk into, say, view ruins from ancient Rome, view Ottoman mosques, Greek temples, amphitheaters. There's history going back 10,000 years, and that's a long time.
Now, you told me a little bit about the very, very long history of Cypriot wines, and that there are even some biblical references. Can you tell a little more about that?
Well, Cyprus is actually one of the world's oldest wine-producing countries in the world, with wine production going back approximately 5,000 years BC, so 7,000 years in the making.
How do we know this? This is documented?
This is documented archaeologically, yes.
Yeah.
I think the Carrier Institute, which is the US Archaeological Institute, Italian Archaeological Foundation has been in Cyprus, and everyone enjoys, all archaeological, from all over the world, all archaeological institutes come to Cyprus because it's, as I said, a wealth of history to be found in a very small place. It's like an archaeologist's dream come true, I suppose. In fact, we still produce the oldest wine still in production, Commandaria, which has been produced since 1000 BC, it's 3,000 years now, continuously. We've been making the same wine for 3,000 years.
That's an excellent record.
It is, it is. And in fact, if I may quote Olivier Poussier, who was the world's best sommelier in 2000, he said, among some of the world's most famous wines, one stands out, Commandaria, Ambrosia from Cyprus. So,
the nectar of the gods.
The nectar of the gods, yes. It has, and Commandaria, not because I'm Cypriot myself, although it may bias me, I suppose, is a phenomenal product. I mean, like nothing else. So those who haven't tried it must.
Now, you were saying that there are some wine regions that have been newly defined?
Well, yes, since our accession to the European Union, the vinification, well, the wine producing sector has reorganized, and there are 4 wine producing regions with appellation of origin, controlled origin in Cyprus. The focus lately has been, much as it has been in Greece, and the interest from the rest of the world, I suppose, dictates that as well, in rediscovering the indigenous grape varietals of Cyprus, which are, and another note of interest is that Cyprus is one of the few phylloxera-free regions in the world, which means it was never affected by the vine louse.
That's a disease that can really wipe out your vineyards.
Right. So what that means is that the vines in Cyprus are the original stock vines, which means they retain their classic characteristics, if you like, and they have a long life. They're old vines. There are about 15 indigenous grape varietals in Cyprus currently known. About 4 of those are predominantly cultivated for wine production. Xinisteri, which is a white, Mavro, which translated simply means black, it's a black grape, Ophthalmo, and Maratheftico, which produces some phenomenal wines. And there's been a great deal of commitment and investment, actually, by the wine industry in rediscovering these grapes and producing superior quality wines that truly represent the character of the country and the 4,000, 5,000 year history of winemaking.
So now these wines are being exported, and
Absolutely,
people are
yes.
enjoying
We're
them
still,
all over?
yes, well, yeah, it's we're building up momentum abroad in that, these wines have been enjoyed in the region in Greece and in Cyprus and have been well known for many, many years, but we're only recently reaching out to countries like the US, and we feel strongly that we have a great deal to offer, that we provide an alternative, I suppose, to the dominant grape varietals that are on the shelves. giving something entirely unique and unfortunately limited. I say unfortunately because it would be wonderful if I could produce enough wine for the whole world to drink, but we're a very small country.
That was going to be my next question. Where can we expect to see this? Can we expect that that you'll not be that available?
It will. Well, we have a pretty broad distribution, which is growing continuously. But yes, most of these wines are limited in production, so it's not something you're going to find in your supermarket shelves. It's a unique and specialized.
Do Cypriot vineyards and wineries have the capacity to grow and to meet the demand?
Yes, I think so. But whenever a winery is meeting the challenge of increasing its supply, it has to be very careful in doing that, because obviously if you're taking on vineyards that you haven't how do you say you're not familiar with, you risk affecting the quality of your wine. So of your wine, so it's very often something that wineries don't want to do. They would rather not sell it than risk.
I see. Yeah. Well, that's a good thing. What are some of the other products that we should be thinking of when we think of Cyprus?
Well, yeah, we're talking about Cyprus. Given that we're just such a little country, but nevertheless, within Europe at least, we have one of the longest lists of products of geographic indication, which means products that are uniquely Cypriot.
And nowhere else.
And nowhere else. That they were first made there, and although maybe they've been copied and whatnot, they are Cypriot in origin. Take halloumi, for instance, which I'm sure many of you have come to love. The cheese.
The cheese that doesn't melt, and you can barbecue it.
Absolutely. Grills, fries, eaten raw with fruit, pairs wonderfully with, especially in the summer, with wines and whatnot. Trademarked in the US. And now available, I believe, in pretty much most major supermarket chains, Costco's, Whole Foods, and I think we'll be seeing a lot more of this special cheese from this little island. To
be called real halloumi, must it come from?
It must come from
It's not
Cyprus.
A process.
No.
It must come from Cyprus.
It must come from Cyprus. And there's a lot to do with that. It's not just because it's Cypriot and it has a trademark. There is, in order to produce halloumi, there is a process, there is which is controlled and overseen by the government, and requirements have to be met. So if someone, let's say, and I won't name a country, but if someone is producing halloumi and calls it halloumi locally, it's a salty cheese that has the texture, doesn't make it halloumi.
I see.
But besides just the cheese, again, we're talking about a Mediterranean country, and all Mediterranean countries, Italy, Greece, Spain, we all have similar products, the olive oil, the cheeses and so on and so forth. And each one of us has our own identity and character. And the same is true for Cyprus. We export honey, honey pastes, flake salt actually, because we have a huge salt lake in Cyprus which produces wonderful salt that's become very popular, especially in gourmet restaurants.
So it's kind of like the Dead Sea?
Not quite, no, not quite, no. It's an inland salt lake. The Dead Sea is huge, but we. But
that's the same reason why it has salt.
Right, it was part of the ocean which closed off, and that's how salt lakes are formed. And a certain region in Cyprus has brought in, we have flamingos in every summer. It's beautiful actually. So we do a lot of salt production and spices, oregano, and so on and so forth, olive oil. But our focus has always been on producing very high quality, because we have to, simply because we have a limited production and because we enjoy eating well. So, so those who buy our products share in that as well. That's probably why I suppose we don't have that huge amount of exposure in the mass market, just because we've never really been that interested in the mass market.
But now it's time.
But now it's time.
It's time for us all to be looking for
Exactly.
all these products from Cyprus.
Exactly right.
And to be asking for that. Well, thank you very much for talking to us today about all the great things about Cyprus, and we've learned a lot.
Thank you very much.